Hello and welcome to Global Armenians, and joining us today from New York is singer, songwriter, performer Melineh Kurdian, who's an all-around bundle of cuteness, but don't take my word for it. The New York Times says she is soulful and amusing. Melineh, what kind of music do you perform?
I perform a few different kinds, I'd say, especially within the past year to 2 years. I've done a lot of folk rock singer-songwriter music where I'm playing guitar and singing just solo me on stage or with full accompaniment of a band. Um, for about a year and a half, I was playing in an alternative indie rock band called The Cold and Lovely, based out of Los Angeles. And now I'm diving into some new different sounds.
Well, before we go on, we're going to take a look at one of your videos. There's a lot of them on YouTube. I encourage people to look you up. We're going to look at a live performance from Sunset Sound of a song called Between Me Now.
Rolling audio.
Okay.
Alright, soon. Speed.
Okay, speed.
Speed.
Yeah. One, two, 1, 2, 3.
Something in my window blocking view. Something could come between me and you. It's not the love. It's not the love. Pain is broken, I can see the crack. Like hot water hitting cold glass. It's not the love. It's not the love that comes between us now. It's not the love. It's not the love. It's just the where and how. Running away sounds like such a plan. I'm so scared I'll just stay where I stand. It's just the fear. It's just the fear that comes between me now. It's just the fear. It's just the fear. It's here and how. There used to be things I could see through. Now the thing is you. Your point is across, I believe you. Let's just stop for silence, cause we're working on a moment to make it last forever. Working on a moment to make it last forever. There's nothing in my window blocking view, cause nothing could come between me and you. It's just love. It's just love that comes between us now. It's just love. It's just love that comes between us now. It's just love. It's just love. Oh, it comes between us now. It's just love. It's just love. It's here and how. 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 It's here and how.
Right.
That was Melineh Kurdian's performance live of Between Me Now. Melineh, explain where this inspiration comes from. Do you write the lyrics first? Do you write music first? How does that work?
You know, I have a couple of different approaches. Sometimes a phrase will come to me, just whatever it is, it's usually just a piece of a song not the entire song coming to me all at once. So maybe I'll have a phrase that just catches me, and so I'll work off of that phrase writing lyrics, or that phrase going with the melody, and I'll feel the rhythm of that and really like the melody, and then that'll become the chorus for the song, the hook, if you will. And I used to just sit down with acoustic guitar to write, and I found that that wasn't well anymore. So I've started teaching myself and learning a lot more about audio production, and using my computer and using MIDI and all of these different things, creating beats and different synthesizer lines to write to. So I mean, I think it's about finding any method possible to express what you need to express.
And with your albums that you've already released, talk about some of the songs. What do you address? What do you talk about? Obviously, love is one. What else do you talk about?
You know, whatever it comes to, even if the songs are not necessarily about me, there's always something personal, something that I believe in, or you know, they say the personal is universal. So maybe I had my heart broken a little, and so I write about that. But I write sometimes from the perspective of everyone who's gotten their heart broken. Yeah, mostly, you know, love, loss, being enchanted with life, not understanding certain things about life and trying to work through them in my own way. While I wouldn't say that my stuff's navel gazing, I'd say it's often sort of cathartic for me to play it. And also to come back to songs that I wrote a while ago and see how their meaning has changed for me.
Tell us about your albums that you've released so far. How many do you have?
Well, of solely under my name, I have 2 albums. But then I've also released other albums with other artists that I played with. My first album was called From Where You Are, and my second album, which was a 5-song EP, is called The Where and How.
And they are both available online and for downloading?
Yes, they are. They're available on iTunes, cdbaby.com, and other various internet places.
And before we talk about From Where You Are, let's talk about some of the successes you've had. We know I mentioned the New York Times, but people probably don't know that your video has been on MTV, your music's been played on the MTV networks. Talk about some of the successes that surprised you.
Gosh, it's always such a joy to have people who enjoy your music and want to listen to it. That's still such a magical thing to me, that I'm creating something. It's my art. It's what I believe in. It's what I persevere at doing, persist at doing, and that people say, "Hey, we enjoy that. We want to listen to what you have to say." It's a great exchange, and it's a great connection. I would say that for me, still collaborating with other artists has always been such a joy, whether it was going on tour with a few different singer-songwriters, or the songwriting collaboration that I've had with my friend and drummer Steve Krugman, and our latest collaboration with Dan Kanaka from OK Go. We recorded some songs this past April, and they're available online, not for purchase, but just to hear. What other things? I think the creation of this music video that you just saw was a lot of fun, because we ran a successful Kickstarter campaign in order to be able to make that video, with all of the camera people and the lighting and tremendous sound engineering from Sunset Sound. That was a dream come true for me, to be able to play and record in that legendary space.
And I bet you have a lot of great experiences performing live. I mean, I've seen you in Hollywood, Knitting Factory, CBGB, Hotel Cafe, people, you know, standing ovations. It's amazing how your rapport with the audience is really wonderful. Let's talk about how this all got started. You know, I was surprised to hear that you were from Kansas. How does an Armenian girl end up in Kansas?
Very carefully. So I was born and raised in Kansas. My father was born and raised in Kansas, and his father had come over from was born in Romania and came over from Anatolia like early teens. Had gone back and forth from New York to LA, and then settled in Kansas and married a very nice Kansas girl, my grandmother. And but I'm half first generation Armenian because my mother is actually Persian Armenian. She and my father met in the 60s in Tehran, Iran, fell in love, got married, and he brought her back to Kansas. And that's where they stayed, where they built their life. They still live in the home that I grew up in there. And it was a really interesting experience growing up Armenian in Kansas because no one knew what an Armenian was. That was you're Romanian, you're Albanian. So it's been cool to see how that's changed over time and people have a better understanding of what an Armenian exactly is, whatever that is.
Now, your parents were instrumental in getting you started in music. Talk about the 3-year-old, the piano lessons at 3 and how you discovered the guitar.
Well, 3 would be impressive. It was 6.
6, okay.
But but I started playing piano very young, and I'm very appreciative to my mother especially. She kept me on the track, kept me disciplined, said that I couldn't play with kids until I had practiced my piano. And I fell in love with playing. I fell in love with music. I fell in love with writing my own little songs or mimicking what I was hearing. And then after playing cello a little bit, I realized I like stringed instruments as well. My mother had a classical guitar that she wasn't playing at all, so I picked it up because it was kept in my room. And that really just set me off. It opened up a whole new world of music to me. At that time, I was listening to a lot of classic rock because I have an older brother, and I started playing.
And then you started writing
Guitar.
songs. At what age did you start writing songs and experimenting with your musical?
I would say actually writing maybe early teens. And then later high school years, 17, 16, 17, 18, writing my own songs and performing them in front of other people.
And in addition to sharing your music on stage through music videos and through your albums, you've also been touching young lives through music camps. Talk about what you do with the music camp.
It has been one of the greatest things that I've ever gotten to take part in my life. I have been doing Rock and Roll Camp for Girls Los Angeles for 4 years now. We're in our 4th year. We serve all girls in the Los Angeles community, 8 through 17 years old. The girls come to camp, they pick up an instrument, form a band, write a song, and then perform that song at a really tremendous, amazing, legendary Los Angeles music venue. And we're not the only ones that do this. There are approximately other 40 rock camps around the world and in the United States under the Girls Rock Camp Alliance. And we're always looking for new volunteers, female mentors. It's not just about girls coming, learning to play some music, and then they're done. It's a transformative, beautiful experience of like self-expression, getting in touch with their artistic side, and not being afraid to make noise in the world as girls and women. So it's incredibly empowering, and I can't imagine my life without it.
I would love to see you do one of those camps here in Armenia for young girls here.
That is a really great idea, Paul.
Well, maybe.
And I think we should talk more about that.
Maybe we can make it happen. Okay, what's next for you? Recording another album? What's ahead for you?
I have been in a state of constantly writing. I'm writing more right now than I ever have in my whole life, which feels really good. And I am experimenting with a new sound, new way of performing. I mean, perhaps the next project that I do that I'm writing for now wouldn't necessarily be under my name, but a collaboration with other artists. I'm here in Brooklyn, I'm playing with a gentleman who plays the oud and a lot of different stringed instruments. So I'm playing with those sounds. And have a concert playing in January, mid-January here in New York, finalizing the booking on that. So right now for me is just, it's really about writing, getting that new cachet of songs that I'll then be recording. I'm in the discovery process.
Fantastic. We look forward to hearing all the new songs. Thank you for your time this early in the morning for you in New York. And give folks your website address so that they can discover the music as well and enjoy it.
Sure. My website is melinehkurdian.com, MELINEHKURDIAN.com. And thank you so much, Paul. It's always so wonderful to check in with you and to speak with you about what's going on in the world. It's always a great pleasure. So thanks.
Same here, Melineh. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a good day.
And thank you at home for joining us on Global Armenians.